Hello guys, and welcome back to Commander, the Great War with our Entente playthrough. In the last episode, we made some pretty ballsy pushes in the middle of the winter while challenging the enemy's own weird obsession with scrambling to maintain defensive lines, despite being on the side that really needs to keep up an offensive. We went and just last turn we took the last tile surrounding Brussels. The BEF is in a bit of a sticky situation because of it though, and we did suffer some losses, unfortunately. Probably more losses than I would like to, but in exchange for now almost having retaken all of Belgium. We've pushed the line very far on the Western Front, all the way up to Stuttgart. I believe this is well beyond Alsace-Lorraine at this point, and they don't seem too willing to push at any exposed area that I leave because they're scrambling so much just to protect themselves. We are being pushed pretty hard on the Ottoman front, and we are going to suffer some losses here in the next couple turns. Unfortunate, but there's little to nothing I can do about it unless I get more troops down there. And Russia is currently stretched on all fronts, making some good progress pushing up west of Eastern Prussia, which we claimed, but we're being pretty ballsy just to make that push. It's not necessarily going easily, I'll say that much. And in Egypt, we have uncovered an entire Ottoman army stacked up against us. And we need to, I guess, hold them back, because I don't know how much we're really going to be pushing against them. Our infantry is really just as good as theirs. Now, I do need to go over Serbia, and there's not a lot I want to do here. I'm going to repair this infantry. I'm going to repair this garrison and just have them continue to hold. The infantry will hopefully be back up to snuff by the next turn. That's what I hope anyway. The garrison is taking some efficiency loss due to repeated attacks, but the lowest it can get this turn, I believe, is 4? Yeah, something like that. And assuming they don't die, I can just replace them with the garrison in Kraljevo, and hopefully that'll be good enough. I don't know, but that's basically all I need to do for Serbia. Now for the eastern front of Russia. We're being pushed pretty heavily on the southern front, where we have a bit of a gap, these garrisons over here by Lemberg. So, you know, this garrison's just as beat up as this one, but this one's still on the front. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this back, actually, which will hurt its efficiency a little bit. I'm gonna repair it and the garrison next to it, which has already been here for a turn or so. This one should hopefully be up to snuff by next turn, but I'm gonna take this cavalry and move it over to the front to just try to fill in and hold against this constant assault, because we can't quite do much here. I may try, but we're not having the best of luck here. Russia is honestly really stretched thin, and this is the country I'm the most worried about, because they just don't have the resources incoming to maintain all three fronts. That's why I went so sparse down by the Ottomans. I figured they can't possibly do enough damage in a short enough period of time to counter what I can do by having a massive amount of units focusing on the Austrians and Germans in that same time. I hope that logic proves well. I'd hate to see this war turn around on me. Of course, as time goes on, we'll only get more countries joining us. It will hopefully get easier. In about 9 more turns now until we get Italy and open up an entirely new front, which I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with them. I'm either going to push right into Austria and Germany with them, or I will hold a defensive line and instead send my most cracked troops over to Serbia to try to keep Serbia alive while Bulgaria shows up, to make the Balkans an actual location of prolonged fighting. I'm really not sure how I'm going to handle it yet, but those are my plans, which I will repeat. Now, down by Posen, where I made a pretty aggressive push last turn. I want to get von Maxen here, which is now level 3 infantry. They've upgraded all of their infantry, something I don't have the privilege of doing yet, out of the running. He has no efficiency, so it should not be that hard, theoretically. Now, I did this giant push, but now I'm going to function like a wave and sort of reel backwards in the hopes that, well, you know, my frontline troops don't get crushed, because this garrison is already getting smashed by these armies. And that's not going to work out so well if that continues. I don't want to necessarily push anything up anymore, because we're already pretty stretched thin, and it's not going to be very sustainable should we try to do that. So I'm going to take this train up north that pushed ahead just to scare them by Stettin. I'm going to send that down to Posen. And now it still has max efficiency because trains are cool like that. We're going to attack Posen with this train. Dealt 3 damage, took none. Absolutely fantastic result, if you ask me. However, what the hell do I really know? I'm going to take this Warsaw force here. I'm going to move it down to these fortifications just north of Posen. I'm tempted to do a couple things here, but let's see. I'm going to move this down by Posen. It's now down to 8. But I'm going to attack Posen with it. Dealt 4 damage, took 1. Of course, not the best result, and they're pretty worn out as of right now. We're also going to take the Danzig Defense Force, and we're going to return it back to Danzig. I just wanted to claim a little bit of territory with it. Otherwise, on this front, I'm going to repair, 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 and this is the riskiest one, but repair. And I have a reason for what I'm doing here. Now, they are getting just as pushed and squeezed as I am. We're both kind of feeling the heat right now. This unit on post and von Mackensen providing most of their buffs to them is nearly dead, and I want to see maybe... It's not very likely that I can strafe it out of existence, sadly. So what I'm going to do with this plane instead is try to maybe weaken some of the enemies closest to the west, because those are the enemies that are going to be the biggest issue for me. I'm going to strafe this infantry here, and hopefully we have hurt their efficiency a little bit. It looks like we have by 1, yes. Make them a little less efficient, a little less capable of doing damage, and hopefully that will kind of help us out. Gotta keep an eye on von Mackensen here, because he's certain to try to retreat at this point. He's really 1 shot from dead. This small garrison's the only thing really keeping him alive unless I push and try to wrap around, but I'm not going to risk that. Brusilov's at 7 efficiency, and we're running a lot of these units at 6 and 7 efficiency. I want them to sit still, dig in, and recover as much as they can, so when I inevitably have to pull back or I get pushed back, it doesn't hurt as much. But if I can snipe this force, that would certainly be useful. The trains are really coming in handy, though. I have to say that over on the Eastern Front. I know I'm probably pushing it here with my overall production, but I'm going to go ahead and purchase another infantry for Russia. I currently have a garrison and an infantry being built because Russia desperately just needs more manpower, especially infantry, but even garrisons. We need more. I'm putting the garrison up here. I don't know where the infantry is going to go. The infantry are all just so valuable. I may need it down by the Ottomans. I may need it on either of these fronts. It is needed everywhere. We just don't have the resources to pump out a whole lot of these. 1 a turn, but only for a couple turns, because I go ahead and I purchase this, and our production is going down to like plus 20. Our income is definitely falling, and as the manpower goes down, so is our production. Russia doesn't get convoys, so it certainly cannot healthily maintain these fronts, as it couldn't in history. So you know what? That's historically accurate anyway. But Russia can at least do a lot of damage and hold off a lot of troops on all sides, and hopefully that's what Russia will be good for. While the UK provides support to France, which is pushing heavily and will push further and further. They're getting a convoy this turn, which will give them more forces to use. Britain, which I'm going to have providing support here and focusing on all the naval shit, like Britain's taking care of the waters, while also manning the Egyptian front. You know, Serbia is just kind of holding on for dear life, but distracting some enemy troops in the process. Italy, which will soon join and spice things up. And then Bulgaria will join and complicate everything. But I know we'll have a few more allies joining us this war. We just need to do what we can to hold with the countries that cannot push, and do what we can to push with the countries that do not need to hold. Basically. So I'm going to end my turn, and we're going to really hope my aggressiveness doesn't punch us in the face. Alright, let's see. German convoy is moving up. Oh, that small garrison's dead just as I predicted it would die. Ottoman troops shuffling around. Ooh, very aggressive. Oh, man. Where did that... Oh, they trained Mackensen away to save him. They trained him away. It's going to take him a while to get that unit back up to snuff, though. That's a shame. Still cycling troops in and out. Getting more armies on the Serbian front. That's not good for Serbia, but that's good for everybody else. Running away from that northern push I emptied out. Whole lot of reshuffling, which is dumb to do in the winter, but whole lot of strafing they're doing. pushing on my new eastern wall. They're afraid of it, clearly. Okay, our convoy's moving around, and we produced a British artillery, a British plane, and a Russian garrison. Okay. And the UK and France both got convoys in, and oh man, it's looking pretty good. Now, I'm gonna move this submarine up here. I don't know where the convoy around here spawns, so I'm just gonna leave it right here. We do have another German convoy to deal with. This will be fun. I only have one submarine at the ready over here. I need more. I'm going to move it up and immediately just attack the convoy. We only dealt 1 damage, which is a shame, but it is in range of this. But this airship's better at ASW, not at attacking merchant convoys, which, as we can see, have pretty good air attack. No sub-attack, thankfully. I wonder if they developed that. I know they develop defenses. I've already developed some defenses of my own. They have so much air power over here that's been so annoying. Oh my god, they have level 3 artillery. What the fuck? Germans are insane. My research is barely starting to finish a bunch of things up across all my countries. Theirs is already doing great. Level 3 artillery, level 3 infantry. I'm still on level 1 nearly everything. I have really no upgrades that I know of. I mean, I did research for the British. Torpedo ballasts or something. I think it was the British. Anti-torpedo bulge base defense. Yeah. Centralized fire control. The British are working on. I don't know if you have to be at a port to do that upgrade. You probably do. But, like, I have no upgrades that have come in for land units yet. Currently, the 18th of February, the winter is still raging, though seeming to let up in some places by now, I guess. And we have a lot of stuff to look at. Let's start with the Navy, though. So we know the subs are passing through here. We know that they can run right through our convoys, which is unfortunate. But we'll still maintain a position up here, just not any further north. We'll move these subs back down here. They were very handy. This area is under control with submarines, certainly. And we don't have to risk the Russian ships, which means we're not using them, but, you know, shrug. They don't need to be used currently. They'll be far handier if the German fleet comes out in force to try to dominate this. I don't know how much money they're spending on fleets, though. Because not getting these merchant convoys will be devastating for them in the long run. But simultaneously, not spending money on defending your convoys means in the short term you get to vastly improve your units. So I know there's still an Austrian sub somewhere around here. Don't know what the hell it's doing. It was out of efficiency, though. So it shouldn't be much of a threat. I wonder how the Austrian sub got there, though, because it means it must have passed through some of our units at some point. Not sure when or how it got the opportunity to do that, but let's go ahead and look at these other locations. So, this arty piece I purchased specifically for Egypt, because Egypt could use some artillery. So we're going to deploy that here, and it will take a bit to be able to move. I have a plane here that I can use, and it seems like we might be able to do some damage just with some strafing. I brought a fighter down here, of course, just one fighter. For recon and some strafing. I don't know if I want to attack things in the front or things in the rear, quite frankly. But I know we can... Ooh, don't do that. So do some damage now that we have some infantry buffs and yada yada against their troops that are less prepared to actually do anything against us. The artillery isn't in firing range, so I guess I could leave it alone. It's already kind of repaired up. I'll take the plane, and I think I will strafe... Oh, wow. Apparently the cavalry will hurt us because cavalry have anti-air. I wonder if that's a new development. Do my cavalry have anti-air? Where's my cavalry? Here's one. Yeah, I guess they do. Huh. Okay, well, we'll leave them alone. And instead, where could we do some good damage? This garrison. It still costs a lot to repair garrisons, so even if they're not as important as armies. Let's go ahead and shoot that garrison and deal some efficiency damage. Pretty good, I think. And we'll take an infantry and attack the garrison. We lost 1, dealt 3. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Losing no efficiency, probably just because of the desert. We could go on other offensives here, but I don't know if I want to push that given the entire situation around here. The RD will be moved up probably to right here, I guess, which might take 2 turns rather than 1. And let's look at the Ottoman front now. So the small garrison's dead. They focused it. Unfortunately, not very much I could do about that. It sucks, but you know, what are you going to do? They have this infantry sitting out in the open, though. And where small garrisons we start the game with, they don't really cost us any upkeep. They don't cost us anything. That's why losing them sucks, because that's a free unit that you could have kept, and now you just don't have. But they've left one of their infantry really open as a result. So I'm going to try to take advantage of this. My infantry here is all rested up. We're going to move this infantry down and double down on defending Sarakamish. And let's see. I guess we'll use this infantry to attack first. Dealt 2 damage, took 1. These guys are now down to 2 efficiency. Unfortunately, the commander has gotten a lot of his efficiency back. But we're also going to attack again with our main infantry. Dealt 3 damage and lost 1. But their infantry just straight up retreated. So that should hopefully slow their overall offensive down now that they're reliant on a lot of garrisons and a only half efficiency infantry. And now for the British plane. We need the British plane to go somewhere, and I believe it's just going to go in Europe. A 3rd fighter, so we have 3 fighters going up and down this, and we can change British attention to other things. However, we're going to need to deploy it right here, first and foremost. On the Western Front, we still have to keep pounding away at Brussels. Brussels falling is the single biggest thing I can do to help myself over here for the time being. Let's go ahead and strafe Brussels, or try to. Of course, a plane intercepted and we lost one of our plane units. I've been doing this pretty repeatedly to actually distract their planes. And now we'll take the airship, bomb the city, do some efficiency damage, and some damage to their supplies as well. The odds aren't exceedingly great over here at Brussels, but I do want to try to knock Brussels down. Even though it's a level 3 infantry, I don't think can withstand too much. Let's go ahead and get our arty on point. 0 damage. Oh god. But another efficiency loss, so better than nothing. Let's take Joffrey and attack. We lost 1, we dealt 2. Okay. Any better odds? No. Let's take the northern infantry and attack. Lost 0, dealt 1. Alright, so we are doing better than we are losing right now. That is exactly what I'd hoped for. Any better odds? No. Alright, the southern French infantry, attack. Dealt 2, lost 0. Very good. With how much we've lost without killing, we definitely need this to even it out. 2 to 1 and 2 to 1. Okay, let's use Nivelle to attack. Dealt 1, lost none. And finally, the Canadian Expeditionary Force, dealt 3, lost none. Dude, it's literally 1 attack from death. Its efficiency's down to 3. Looks like we can finish this off with a French garrison. We attack. We lost 1. We dealt 6. They're dead. So we wiped this out this turn, and we lost 1 infantry. Like, just 1, not the whole unit. Not a full 10 stack, but just 1 of the stack. And 1 of a garrison stack. And they had, like, nearly full, if not basically full. So, bam, shabam, we fucking did it, boys. We just took Brussels back, and Belgium should now be back in the race. Yep, I have Belgian construction again. I wonder if this will get their national morale to go back up. Naturally, I want Belgium to maintain its own fronts without any real assistance, and it doesn't seem to have a lot of income, in fact. Let's look at Belgium. Belgium's production is only a little harmed, but it barely has any production. This could have a lot to do with the fact that I've just bombarded Brussels, and Brussels itself will take a little bit to recover. And because the other cities are a little war-torn right now, but as the front moves up, it shouldn't be too bad. The French do not need to leave garrisons here. I can just make Belgian garrisons to take care of this. So let's buy 1 Belgian garrison. Let's buy 2 Belgian garrisons. Brings their income down to 0, but I believe their income will go up as time goes by. Even if it doesn't, so long as they can maintain and defend their own country with garrisons, it's better than nothing. They'll be done in 2 turns. I don't need to leave any of my French garrisons here. All of these units are now free to go join the front, essentially. So that will be handy to get all these units on the front. Oh man, that's a lot too when they recover. Let me repair the BEF. It's now fully repaired, but still only down to 1 efficiency. But it's been sitting here now for a turn. It should hopefully regain its power soon. We're going to have some R&R here to recover the full strength of a lot of our units. But a lot of them seem to have not lost any efficiency. Maybe a good sign that this winter is dying away? I don't know. I really don't understand how that works. But they should be able to move and form another front pretty quickly. And we definitely need them. What are we going to get? 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5 infantry. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. Perfect for maintaining the current front, plus cores to back them up and fill in any areas in the back like this that need defending. Actually very fucking cool. Belgium is reclaimed, and soon the Germans will have to feel a full French push with some British Expeditionary Force assistance and aerial assistance as well, which is good. Because due to the small length of the front, France can actually maintain a push as opposed to Russia, which is fighting both nations on both boards as well. I mean, France is there too, but they have a lot more to deal with. They have 3 fronts, whereas France is only expanding from 1 to 2. It'll be a lot easier to maintain. Now, they are fucking up this cavalry that I pushed up here to kind of fuck with them. And rather than let it sit here and get destroyed, they only dealt 1 damage to it. Let me clarify that. A lot of the fuck up is the fact that they just strafed it and artied it repeatedly, and now it has like only half efficiency. I want it to be able to repair. So I'm going to now retreat it back now that I've scared the shit out of them. Retreat it back, and I'm going to repair that. I don't plan on going on the offensive here. It doesn't really seem like it's in my best interest. Just sit back, relax, wait for the winter to end, get our efficiency back for all of our units. It's mostly back. But let's repair this unit, and we're just going to sit and hold the line until our other units can move forward and form the front that we will use to hopefully have a very successful 1915 pushing into the heart of Germany, and mainly Germany. Germany is the biggest threat, and Germany is trying to maintain not just their fronts, but all fronts. And it's this coalition formation that is their weakness. Because if I took all of Austria, Germany could still turn things around. But Austria cannot turn things around if Germany starts losing cities, let's be honest. What we do down in Serbia this turn will be very simple. We're going to repair this garrison and this army, and that's pretty much all we are going to do. Accumulate some more ammunition, just sit down and hold. This garrison is actually held pretty well, still having 7 efficiency. This army is almost fully back up to snuff, and hopefully the snow goes away soon so we can move around without using efficiency, because this garrison will need to be replaced sooner rather than later, I'm willing to bet. Over on the Eastern Front, the first thing I'm going to do is deploy this Russian garrison. I'm going to deploy it up by Warsaw here, because we need another garrison up on this front rather desperately. Sadly, von Mackensen has escaped with his army, though his army was so fucked up, it will take forever in order to get it back in a working condition. Our armies here are battered and beaten, surely, especially in realms of efficiency, but the enemies are wearing themselves down as well, and despite their hyper-aggressiveness, they have not been able to make the amount of progress they would need to actually push us out. So honestly, what we have accomplished here has been a huge success in terms of our efficiency and everything. A huge success has been achieved here. We can even keep attacking, like with this small garrison, and we could like wipe this out, or at least chase it back by the looks of it. Well, let's do a couple things first. Some of our units have repaired and have rested, and that is good. These units are lasting way better than I thought they would, so I'm actually going to allow them to just stay where they are, because the enemies trying to be hyper aggressive to keep me back is hurting them at least as much as it's hurting me. Maybe not in terms of the losses on the garrison, but we can repair garrisons a lot easier than armies, and they're battering their armies down on our garrisons. So we will repair it. At the very least, no, it has as much efficiency as them. If they double down on it, it may need to retreat then, but I don't think it's in any risk of dying next turn, and the repairs are easy to keep going, and hopefully the Warsaw force will be up to snuff again sooner rather than later. They do have a pretty good infantry on Posen, and I can't really budge that. So we're going to repair this train as well. This train is not needed here anymore, but it is not really capable of pushing up very far currently in any direction. I'm going to move it up here just to maintain a little bit of a front and keep them spooked if they can actually see that far into our territory. The Arty has its efficiency back. It's doing okay. I'm going to move that up to where the train was. Still same efficiency, and it can start firing on Posen next turn. And because I believe we can actually chase this back, and because this front is not very demanding right now, let's go ahead and take this infantry. And let's attack this small garrison. We lost 1, we dealt 3. They can repair these for free, so of course it's not the greatest thing to have, but let's go ahead and attack with Brusilov as well. We lost 2, dealt 6. At the very least, this thing will probably retreat. In fact, I could kill it. I could kill it, if I'm being honest. I could wipe it out, and if I do wipe it out, that really sucks for them. This will be a hyper-aggressive play, though. Let's try it. Let's move our cavalry all the way around. Oh my god, do they have nothing behind them whatsoever. We have the same efficiency as we had. We've pushed forward and kind of wrapped around. So we're going to now finish off this garrison. 9 damage, took 0. This is now my territory. I'm actually going to just push up and claim that so that my cavalry isn't as exposed, and so that these infantry that have attacked and suffered some damage are actually now protected and aren't going to have their efficiency, like, he'll have his efficiency protected, he'll have himself just protected because, you know, he lost some troops, but his efficiency is good, so it's not that big a deal. Cavalry's up on front. Cavalry's a little bit more expendable. You know, cavalry can be very handy. Like, an infantry could not have done what I just did there. Only a cavalry. It makes me tempted to make more cavalry, but, like, they're only useful in certain situations. Like, I have cavalry down here that's been pretty useless, all in all. And, you know, sooner or later, we're going to get armor. And it's probably sooner. If you look at the overall development of tech, which one of these is for tanks? It's like this right here. Yeah, unlocks armor unit. And we have different production. But Great Britain and France are getting pretty close to it, honestly. Mainly Great Britain. I assume it won't be so revolutionary at the start because of just how good everything else we have will be, but we'll see. I'm not going to rush it or anything. I don't think we need to rush anything. Germany may be ahead of us, but there's a ceiling and they can't go much further than where they've been. And now let's look back here. I'm going to repair this garrison. Needs to rest. This garrison has rested, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. It's now back up to full strength. With my fighter plane on the Eastern Front, I'm going to strafe this level 3 infantry here, which currently has 6 efficiency. Still has 6, unfortunately. I was hoping to weaken it a little bit so its attacks wouldn't be as effective, but, you know, fighters can only be so good at strafing at any point. We need bombers at some point. I want to get fighters up first and then bombers to assist them, but with Russia, I don't have much choice of anything I can do. What I really need for Russia is just raw manpower. Luckily, that's what they're really, really good at. We are getting through their manpower. It started at 2,500. We've almost used 200 of it, whereas France and Britain are now actually up past their initial starts. Britain started at 600. France started at 1,200. It's pretty interesting. Britain and France are definitely the biggest slumbering powers at the start of this war. I'm going to do something a little maneuverable to keep them on their toes over on the southern part of the Eastern Front. I'm going to move this infantry down just a touch. This cavalry is going to follow behind his rear, poising for maybe some flanking actions, so we can kind of go all the way up to Romania here. Man, I wish Romania would join. We could just push so much harder, but, you know, Bulgaria is going to ruin that. I'll move this garrison up into the place where the garrison was, just to hold the line. They aren't capable of doing much here, but right now neither are we, due to the winter and due to how just upgraded their troops are. Even Austrian infantry is reaching level 2. They must be focusing. Like, they must have expended all their focuses, which isn't a lot on this kind of stuff. And that's about all the time we have for this episode. I believe I've done everything I'm going to do in terms of moves and attacks, but I'll see at the beginning of the next episode if there's anything I need to do. Still, I need to spend all my points, and then we're going to hit end turn and see how this goes. More hyper-aggressiveness during the winter. It's interesting. There's a risk versus reward where, you know, each side gets torn down really quickly in efficiency, but it can help you just as much as it can hurt you. I think we've made some very good progress, and I think this war is going better and better for us every turn or every couple of turns. And with only about 8 more turns until Italy joins, and a little over 20 until Bulgaria joins, this will still get spiced up yet. So let me know what you think about how the war is going in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.